Hi, my name is Jack Mark. I'm a brand manager here at Horizon Hobby, and I'm here with David Payne, a product developer at Horizon Hobby, and the product developer on the Radiant XL, which we've got in a few pieces here to talk about. So David, we've got this in a bunch of pieces here because a 2.6 meter airplane like this doesn't exactly go into, say, a Honda Civic intact.
Correct.
So we've got it broken down here because this is more or less how it comes out of the box, with the exception of the rudder.
Absolutely. The only thing you have to do when you get it out of the box is hinge the rudder. The rudder's actually, the hinges are pre-done into the rudder side. You just have to glue it into the vertical fin side. So that's the only real assembly that you have to do.
So then once you've done that, you're probably not going to put it back in the box, but you're going to need to get it to and from the flying field. So we've made it really easy, or you've made it really easy in the design of this to make sure that the wing comes apart easily. You can fit it in, you know, your average sedan or whatever.
Yeah, with a few screws, you can have the whole thing tore down to what you see here, and it pretty much fits into anything then. You know, it's really not a factor as far as travel.
Cool. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and put it together on camera right now so you can see exactly how complicated it is. And while we're doing that, we're going to talk about a couple of things. So where do you want to start?
Yeah, as we put it together, we'll just highlight some of the features. So, you know, our fuselage here, inside here, you know, you can see kind of some of the internal plastic structure we have in there to kind of make it a little more rigid and a little more durable. You can see our receiver, which is our 636 receiver with AS3X technology. You know, the hatch is a quick latch, just like normal, so real easy to get to the hatch. You know, your bind plug's up here, so once all this is put together on the wing, you don't have to do anything other than the hatch right here, and it's really quick and simple as far as that goes. A few other highlights before we stick it together is this is, you know, your one spoiler servo here. It's already pre-installed for you, all attached. Nothing you have to do except plug the one cable into the fuselage, and you've got 5 screws up here on the top on this intersection. Actually, some of the guys have asked about this intersection and how big it is. It's 48 inches, 4 foot. So if you want to carry it with the center section on and just take the tip panels off, you gotta, you know, it's a 4 foot wide section that you gotta deal with, but pretty easy as far as that goes. Your horizontal tail, it's a full flying horizontal tail, but it's really simple. It comes, you know, just 2 carbon rods, 2 screws on this side, slide it in, and you're done. So we'll start putting it together.
So real quick, before we cover this back up again, so there have been a lot of questions about where we reinforced it. We said carbon. A lot of guys were pointing out pictures underneath. Well, this is a fiberglass spar, so there's a mixture of both.
Absolutely, there's a mixture of both. So you have a carbon rod that runs through the back of the fuselage here for durability on the fuselage and strengthening here.
So is that what I actually see here? So it comes all the way down?
It comes all the way back into here, and then you've actually got a boom stiffener here just for a little bit of durability and resistance on the bottom. That is just that's a glass G10 stiffener there. But so you've got a mixture in the fuselage, and then actually, you know, pretty much the whole airplane has got quite a bit of mixture. There's carbon spars in here to add some durability, because again, it's a huge glider, so you know it's kind of like a limp noodle, to be honest with you. If it was just foam, we needed some kind of durability and strength to it. You've got the mixture in the bottom of the stabs also, and then on the wings, wing panels, you've got the same thing. You've got a carbon spar with a G10 kind of blade extension, and the actual blade spars are G10 themselves, but they come out, you know, really quick, put in and out, and of course makes assembly super fast.
Awesome. All right.
So we'll put it together for you.
So is this is the length of the connection here between the spoiler and
That's it.
That's awesome.
So you got plenty of room.
Half the time you kind of feel like you're having to, you know, and then
makes it easy for you. And then there's pins on the bottom of the wing, so it kind of self-aligns itself and just snaps right down in there. And then you've got a couple screws to put in, and
which one you need?
The big one, yeah. The big one for this one. And 2 of those short screws.
So what's the advantage of having spoilers on an airplane like this? I mean,
so the spoilers actually in this airplane are quite good and quite cool. You know, a lot of bigger, you know, kind of competition glass sailplanes and even wood sailplanes, the spoilers kill so much lift that it makes it really dramatic. As far as when you use them, it kills so much lift that the airplane kind of dives at the ground. It really it loses so much. It's a drastic effect. Well, we went pretty small on these spoilers, just as more of a beginner / intermediate process. So when you activate these spoilers, it just removes some of the lift. It doesn't kill a lot of it, so it just kind of shortens your glide and makes it a little easier. You know, the airplane actually has a super good glide ratio, so The first few landings, it might be a little tough to gauge exactly where you want to be, and you may float right past. But these, you kick them out, and it's not like it pitches down or slams on the ground. It just barely gives it just enough drag to interfere with it.
Okay, cool. So it feels a little bit more like maybe like a non-sail plane might on
Correct.
final.
Yeah. It's much less extreme, I guess you would say, than what a competition sailplane would be.
So let's talk a little bit about this full flying tail. So when you say full flying tail, that means that there's basically sort of no dedicated horizontal stabilizer. The whole thing is an elevator.
Exactly. The whole thing is controlling your pitch moment. It's the whole thing moves up and down. Actually, we can hook the radio up here in a second and show you that after we get it put together. A small one. So there's just 2 screws. You can leave the other 2 tight on the other side. So 2 screws, and just barely make sure you got a little bit of gap in between the fuselage and the stab, and that's done.
Just to make sure there's no rubbing.
Yeah, just so that you got a little bit of play in
and
there, but nothing major. It's not real critical, to be honest with you.
So to have basically an elevator that size, so that's 3 or 4 times the size of an elevator you might see, in terms of the actual surface area, moving surface area, what you might see. So why is that important on an airplane like this?
It's really kind of cool as I drop the screws. A lot of sailplanes, depending on the conditions you're in, they'll change either the weight and or the speed that you fly at. Well, during that, you'll have to change your incidence angle or your elevator to kind of compensate for the speed you're flying at. With this, it makes it a little, it's more fine tuning, right?
Okay.
So a couple screws on each wingtip, and that's all it takes.
So it looks like there's 3 kind of, 3
polyhedral wing. Yeah. Yeah. So this one we really wanted to give everybody that, the original Radian, of course, is everybody's love. There's just been so many of them out there, and that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to give them the kind of the same experience, but in a much bigger version. So, and that's what we went with. So, with a rudder-only ship, you want some dihedral to allow the turn. So, this is it's very similar to the Radian, other than it's more, the dihedral is more pronounced, I guess you'd say, in this one. But when it comes right down to it, it's very similar to the little brother, but kind of a new design, just some little bit sharper edges, just a newer, modern kind of version of it.
So if somebody's familiar flying the Radian, this isn't going to be totally alien to them?
Absolutely not. It's going to be very, very similar. If anything, this one, it may even be a little easier in some respects, to be honest with you, because it's bigger. It moves a little slower if you want it to, and even in lift, we've let some guys here that just are not sailplane guys. I mean, absolutely not. And they can find thermals. It indicates lift super well. It's very, very positive as far as that goes.
So there is kind of a concern with the AS3X system. I think a lot of folks kind of think that we put it in there just so that we can charge extra for it, or that it's. Sure. In fact, I know, being the marketing guy, I've been blamed for it several times, that I kind of force it on you guys. But in obviously with an airplane like this, there's a concern that, well, if the system is actively countering things like turbulence, then it's not going to indicate as well because of that. But how big of an issue is that?
It's in my opinion, just my personal opinion, it's not. The system itself is helping with certain things and certain indications, but when it comes to lift, especially in a glider like this, it's picking up the whole glider. You may see a wing raise or something like that, but it still indicates lift extremely well. One thing we've done with AS3X in this is we've actually gone, since it's rudder only, we've actually mixed the rudder axis and the roll axis together so that they're both influencing the rudder in the turn and stuff, which makes turns and things like that very smooth and very, the kind of the oscillation that you would get with a rudder-only ship from just rougher air, it cleans a lot of that up.
Awesome. Okay. So smoother, but it's not really going to
absolutely not.
Impact your ability to.
I feel very comfortable in saying I think once you see this thing and see how it performs and see it on a sunny day where there's some lift out there, you'll be blown away by how easy it is to just see it and go, okay, go there. We've let a lot of guys fly. We're fortunate enough to have some pretty serious sailplane competitors here in Horizon. We've also got some guys that just don't do it. It's not their kind of niche, but all of them seem to love it. All of them enjoyed it. I know Peter Goldsmith and Craig Greening, they're excited to take it and have some fun with it and even enter it in some RES competitions this summer.
Awesome. Yeah, that'll be cool. We'll have to see how it does.
So you can see there's your full flying tail. and there's your rudder. So, and then there is your spoilers.
So you have the spoilers on a switch. Would you
Yes.
think anybody would ever want to put them on a throttle mix? Or?
So we can touch on that quite a bit. You know, there's a lot of different ways to fly that way. The way it's set up right now is the spoilers are plugged into aux 1 or channel 6. If you want to fly it on like any kind of 6-channel radio, that's the way we've got it set up. You can do it as a 2-position switch, a 3-position switch, or linear if you want to put it on a slider, anything computerized. Some guys prefer to have their throttle on a switch and then to have, you know, more of a proportional spoiler system. You can do that too if you want to. There's sailplane programs that will allow you to do that. Some guys have also asked if they could fly it with like a 4E or a 5E. Absolutely you can. The only thing you'll need to do probably is, since they are a momentary switch on that transmitter for aux 1, just unplug it from aux 1 and plug it into the gear channel, channel 5, and then you'll have just a normal proportional switch.
Right. Awesome. So anything else? Well, actually, so a couple of things. I know a lot of guys kind of like to get underneath the hood. They want to know what the motor is and the ESC and stuff like that. So
yeah, the motor, believe it or not, if you're familiar with our Visionaire and or Night Visionaire, it's the same exact motor. It's the same exact 40 amp speed control. You know, the power system's a long proven speed control and motor that have been very good for us. And the prop is honestly, it's a variation of the Night Visionaire prop. We just made it a folder. So all of its proven system. You know, flight time, to be honest with you, we're suggesting a 3200 battery. You could even put a 2200 in it, but it's going to definitely put it at the aft end of the CG, so I recommend that for a more experienced pilot the first few times. But, you know, flight time on the 3200 is, it really depends on your day. You know, if you're being gentle and you're just making climbs, I know, you know, you'll get quite a few climbs out of it and then just glide around for as long as you want. So, yeah.
Speaking of, since we have the battery cover off, it looks like you have that battery all the way forward.
Correct. That's where we fly it at, you know, as far as the balanced airplane for, you know, just the open box general pilot. There's room to move it back if you want to start doing that. Of course, they, you know, the sailplane will fly more aft CGs, but it becomes more sensitive to certain things, of course, with that.
Sure. And do you find, you know, flying a couple of these, that's a good spot to kind of
To be honest with you, I fly it all the time like that. It flies very well that way. It self-recovers a little better that way. You know, if you get too high and a little unaware of exactly the angles you're at, it recovers a lot better that way. You'll start to remove some of that as you go aft in the CG. So, but yeah, I fly it there like that. The weight of that battery does not hurt the airplane at all. You know, it's kind of a really good place to me, in my opinion, because the airplane it can handle some pretty good high turbulence days, or it's very comfortable in a very calm day.
So this airplane, you know, if you want to get into some of the mixing, you can do that. But out of the box, it's all put together super simple, even right down to the DX4E type transmitter.
Correct. You know, all the program is built into the receiver, so there's no reversing in the transmitter, nothing like that. You know, as far as that goes, it's just your basic 3 functions of throttle, rudder, and elevator. And then, you know, after that, you just have your spoilers, which we just covered. It's pretty easy to, you know, change it if you want to run it on a different channel.
Is there anything programmed into the receiver? Because there were a lot of questions about kind of what we did with the receiver in terms of handling some of that mixing or whatever. Is there anything in the receiver besides basic, you know, obviously there's an AS3X program and then...
Correct, yeah. The only thing that's really in the receiver is, of course, your rudder is operating off of your aileron stick, right? Because that's kind of the way we do it with a 3-channel type of airplane. So again, that is operating off of that, and then you know, like I mentioned, the gyro gains, you're actually getting 2 axes off of just the rudder input. So actually, let me be clear a little here. I'll arm the system there, and you'll be able to see. You can see even though I'm rolling, you're getting axis. If I yaw, you get the axis, and then you'll get, of course, the pitch moment off of that. So all 3 into 1, and it really does make a, you know, I mean, this is not a locked receiver, so if some guy wants to go out and try it, if he doesn't want AS3X, it's very easy to plug it into your phone and turn it on. You can put it on a switch if you want to try it both ways. I highly, you know, encourage that you try it both ways if you would like, because I think you'll see that it makes a huge difference in just the performance of the glider, but doesn't hinder the glider at all.
And a guy, if he wants to, I mean, there'll be some programming as far as reversing goes. If somebody does want to put, you know, an AR600 in it or something like that. Sure. It's basic programming if somebody wanted to change it. But again, there's nothing locked in this receiver. It's basically a 6-channel receiver that just has AS3X options. If you want to go in there and tune it, you can tune it up or down. Anything you want to do, it's right there for you. But there's a lot of flexibility in those receivers and being able to make changes on the fly at the field and stuff like that.
And if somebody didn't want to change the settings, they can just go in and activate the switch so it's on or off, and simple as that.
Wow, that's cool. All righty, so intended pilot for this. How much experience do you have? Everybody?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, you know, I wouldn't say it's probably a beginner airplane, but if you've got any time at all on an airframe, you can go to this and go. It's no big deal at all.
Well, I did notice that 3S3200 kind of tends to be a great battery for
big
the
Apprentice, yeah, which you know a lot of guys have already got the Apprentice and they've already got that battery, so it'll fold right into that, and you know it would be a great option if you're happy and comfortable with your Apprentice and you want to try sailing. This is a huge option for that.
Awesome. Anything else you want to mention?
It's big. I mean, it's really it's a huge glider. You know, we're kind of excited about that part. You know, for foam, this is a lot of foam, to be honest with you, but it performs very well. You know, it's not meant to be a hotliner. It's not meant to be anything like that. But it's a great, you know, it's a Radian experience.
Awesome. Well, anything else you think we might have missed, or?
I think that pretty much covers it. Yeah, we've got actually the other thing is it's got you know, it's got some decals. I mean, it's not a big deal, but a lot of guys have personal preferences is where they want like the bars and stripes on the bottom for recognition. So we left them off. You got a decal set, so
that's cool.
You can put them on any way you want.
Don't have to worry about peeling them off. You can put them wherever you want. Awesome. Alrighty, well thanks for taking the time to kind of run us through it, and it looked really easy going together. I think I can find my way around a screwdriver. I won't have any trouble with it. So just as long as I don't glue my fingers together. Putting the
rudder in and away you go.
Awesome. Alright, well if you have any questions about this product, you know, feel free to shoot us an email. And if you have any other questions about the product, we also have a lot of information on the eFlight website. So we'll see you in the next video.
Thanks guys.